Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Holistic Transformation Podcast. I'm Dr. Beverly, your host and founder of the Dancing Bear Enlightenment Academy and the Dancing Bear Healing Center. Today's episode is a call to remembrance, a sacred invitation to move beyond flat thinking and step into your multi-dimensional design. We live in a world built on squares. Squares. It's flat, right? Squares are flat. So we have square rooms, square screens, square thinking. It's the architecture of control, stability, and form, the domain of the masculine principle when it dominates without balance. And that's where we've been for 2,000 years. We are not flat beings. We are three-dimensional beings, and we need to develop three-dimensional thinking, seeing, feeling, and that's what this talk is about today. So we are divine light in motion, encoded with spirals, triangles, stars, spheres, Platonic solids. Excuse me. So the triangle is the first form of consciousness. It symbolizes creation, harmony, and flow. And when two triangles join, one upright, one inverted, so two triangles, one upright, one inverted, they form the star tetrahedron. This guy. So you see the triangles? Now, all the faces of the triangle are triangles. It's not a pyramid. It's a four-sided, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a four-sided tetrahedron, tetra being three-sided. So one side is a triangle, four-sided triangle is a tetrahedron, and when they join together, they form the Merkabah, or the star tetrahedron, which is the light body. This is a basic single unit. This is like a photon. And everything in the universe is based on this structure. That's the internal base structure of everything, from the simple little atom to the whole galaxy. And the top spins clockwise, the bottom spins counterclockwise. We've been talking about this through quite a few podcasts lately, if you've been listening. So in today's episode, we'll explore why triangles are more spiritually fundamental than squares. We'll talk about the lost wisdom of sacred geometry and the role of the Platonic solids. We'll talk about the rise of the divine feminine, which was what we're in now, and how she is returning through spirals, intuition, breath, and embodiment. Why the square world, this flat square world, has dominated for so long and why it's breaking down. It's what we're seeing. And how to rebalance the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine within yourself and your life. And we're not talking here about just men and women. We each have both the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine within us. Now, some people tend to be more masculine in their energy, some more feminine. Some can actually go out to extreme masculine, extreme feminine. And then as you balance the masculine and the feminine within yourself, you become complete. And the more out there, the more radical, the more extreme you are, the more you need the opposite partner to be complete. So if you have a relationship of too extreme and one of them starts to grow up, there's no longer a match. And the other person has to grow as well to create the match, or the relationship doesn't work. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute. So the new human is not about abandoning the masculine. And we've been talking about the new human for quite a while now. So that, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and starting in May, maybe, and listen to the podcast through May and the rest of June. So it's about healing the separation. So if you were out here and things just didn't work and you became separated, now you have two sides that need to be healed. And until you heal the separation, you'll just get into that same relationship over and over again. How many people do you know have been married over and over, doing the same thing without doing the healing work? You have to heal so that eventually you become complete. So the future belongs to the whole being, the one who is structured and intuitive, grounded and flowing, geometric and luminous. When you can stand complete, you are a whole being. Now, when you have two whole beings in a relationship, they are complete. They don't need each other to feel complete. It's a whole different kind of relationship. So we'll end with a powerful visualization to activate your inner geometry, connecting the triangle of your mind, your heart, and womb to the cosmic star within. Cosmic star within. You are not a square. You are not to be boxed in. You are a star in human form. You are the living geometry of the cosmos, and the world is waiting for your radiance. So what I'm going to do now is share screen, and I have some slides. Let me see here. Put you away, and we need to go to viewing. There we go. Okay. So from squares to stars, awakening the feminine codes of the human design. So I'm going to cover first, what's the difference between yin and yang? It's not yang. Yin versus yang. We'll talk about the 5 elements in the Platonic solids. Now, if you took my free Home for Success program, you know what the Platonic solids are. We'll talk about the structure of the universe and how it's based on the star tetrahedron and the Platonic solids. And we'll talk about transformation, inversion, eversion, and how those Platonic solids are important for transformation. And we'll talk about how and why the feminine, sacred feminine, is returning. So yin versus yang is a relationship. It is not, this is always yin, this is always yang. No, they're always two opposites in relationship to each other. If you just have one, you don't have yin and yang. You have to have two. One is yin, one is yang. So some examples are the masculine versus the feminine. And I don't mean men versus women. Because being a man, you're either an XY or you're an XX. If you're an XY, you're a man. If you're XX, you're a woman. That's your DNA. There's nothing you can do about changing your DNA, not in this density in any case. There's hot versus cold. There's light versus dark. There's function versus structure. There's straight versus round. There's hard versus soft, up versus down, energy versus form, cube versus an octahedron, angled versus curved, plus versus minus. So let's explore what this means a little deeper. Let's say you have a gray object or gray light, either one, and a cream object or a cream light, whatever you find easier to visualize. The gray is a darker color that makes it, compared to the cream, that makes it yin, and the cream is lighter, that makes it yang. Okay. Now we're going to say, I'm going to get a piece of black, whatever, color, light, whatever you want to visualize. We've got black versus gray. Black is darker than gray. Black is now yin, gray is now yang. So we went from yin to yang. And if we go and grab something white, compared to cream, cream is darker than white. Therefore, the cream is no longer yang, it's yin, and the white is yang. So it's in relationship. And what are you comparing it to that determines whether something is yin or yang? So for energy versus form in the human body, we think of like the yin organs are like the heart has form, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys. These are all organs that have form. We can dissect a body and pull them out and hold them in our hand. But what they do, the energy they produce, that's the yang. So there's heart energy, liver energy, kidney energy, um, spleen energy. And then the yang organs are hollow organs like the intestines, the gallbladder, the urinary bladder. Sorry, I should have a little bit of water, I guess. Okay. Oh, that's better. All right. So that's the yin versus the yang. So the structure of the universe is the 5 elements. I go through this in detail in Om for Success, but this is just a reminder. So the Merkabah is the star. It's the tetrahedron, is the basic light of the universe. And each of these 5 elements represents one of these 5 elements. I'm sorry, Platonic solids represents. So fire is the tetrahedron. And we'll talk about, on the next slide, we'll talk about why this first one is fire. The cube is earth. The octahedron is air. The icosahedron is water. And the dodecahedron is the element of aether. We have 5 elements. So many people think there's only 4. That's flat, square, 2-dimensional thinking. And we need to move beyond that. So we're going to do that on the next slide. Okay. Oh, so if you want to take a pause for a moment, if you need to take, excuse me, a picture, what do you call it? Snapshot of the slide. And then here's another one. You may want to take a snapshot of this. If you've done Om for Success, these are in the program. But it's the tetrahedron, hexahedron, or the cube, the octahedron, the icosahedron, dodecahedron. And you'll notice that 3 of the 5 are triangular based. The cube is a square, and the dodecahedron is a pentagon. So you can see there's 10 pentagons make up the dodecahedron. It's the number of faces, the number of points, and the number of edges. We're not going to dive deeper into that right now. Those are just reminders. So again, we have these pictures again. In the middle, we have the tetrahedron. Again, notice that all the sides are triangular. It's not a pyramid. A pyramid has a base of 4 on a side, whereas a tetrahedron is a triangle with 4 sides, whereas a pyramid is 5 sides, 4 triangles, and a base of a square. This particular Platonic solid constantly inverts, everts. So it's called inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. And this is how you get transformation. This is the fire. This is the only element that's constantly reproducing. It's like an amoeba or paramecium where they're able to just reproduce on their own. They don't have a gender or a sex. Well, the tetrahedron is like that. It's inverting, everting, inverting, everting, constantly creating energy. As it does that, it joins together with other tetrahedrons to form the star tetrahedron. You notice you can see them all there, or you can see it here. There's a tetrahedron there, a tetrahedron there, a tetrahedron there, a tetrahedron here, another one here, another one up here, and there's tetrahedrons on the inside as well. So as they do this, if you flatten it out 2-dimensionally, guess what you get? You get the flower of life. This is 2-dimensional. This is 3-dimensional. So once you have this base unit of life, and as I said earlier, the top part is rotating clockwise and the bottom rotates counterclockwise. It's always in motion. It's the fire, it's the energy, it's what keeps everything going. And we're in an expanding universe. It keeps growing. So this includes the smallest little photon and atom all the way out to the galaxy and ultimately the universe. Okay. It's holographic. So one small part is the same as the big part. So what happens with the cube and the tetrahedron, octahedron, sorry about that. So the cube and the octahedron invert and evert. Okay, so the octahedron's inside the cube's inside the octahedron. Boom, 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 back and forth. And this star tetrahedron and tetrahedron is inside these objects. Okay, so these are on the outside, this is on the inside. Then on the outside of this is this, the icosahedron, dodecahedron, also doing inversion, eversion, inversion, eversion. So everything is in motion. And these, when they invert, evert, they create the sphere. So anyone who thinks the earth is flat does not understand what's going on or the universe. It can only be a sphere. Actually, this is on the outside, and this is on the inside, then this is on the outside, and then this is on the inside. And you can think of it as a balance of yin and yang, the light versus the dark. And one of the spiritual things we have to learn is that we may choose to stand in the light, but we are also the dark. Some choose to stand in the dark, but that doesn't mean they are not also light. Now, you can get stuck in the light and stuck in the dark. Once you go out of 3D, you either go into the light or into the dark. You into the light tunnel or the dark tunnel. It's in 3D, you have the choice, you have free will. Once you leave this, you have made your choice. So hopefully you're all making the choice to go into the light, into fourth density. Okay, so I have a little animation for you. So let me, so this one here is the octahedron, the two pyramids upside down and right side up, transforming, inverting, everting into the cube. And on this side, you have in this case, this is the dodecahedron, the pentagon on the outside, inverting, everting into the icosahedron, which is the triangles. Now, I tried to make this image myself, and it was going to take me quite a long time because I had to learn all new software. So I actually found this on the internet. So I always like to cite my source. So antiprism.com, antiprism.com, antiprism.com. There's a scientist there who has all kinds of information on inversion, eversion, and he was the one who managed to create these wonderful moving images so you could see what's happening. Okay, so that's the inversion, eversion of these Platonic solids. And this one on the left is inside the one on the right. The one on the right is on the outside. In Om for Success, I talk about the corners, wherever there's a corner, and buckyballs, and you might want to look up Buckminster Fuller, Buckminster Fuller, and they put circles around the corners where the spots are, and they call them buckyballs. Just a little aside if you want to dive a little bit deeper. And that's all in Om for Success if you want to just be giving it to you, or you can look it up yourself. So why and how is the feminine returning? And should be the sacred feminine. So the masculine density we have been in is 2D thinking, and we have been in 2D thinking for 2,000 years, which is why the masculine, the extreme masculine took over, and the feminine was repressed, both the regular feminine and the divine feminine. So the dodecahedron was removed from Western consciousness. Now, I was told in a class I took from someone he just passed away a couple of weeks ago, but he told me, Dr. Derek told me that according to the Rosicrucians, the Greeks removed the dodecahedron from Western consciousness because they felt humanity wasn't ready for it. Or maybe it was done to manipulate us. I don't know, but I know Plato does talk about the dodecahedron. And when you look it up, a lot of sites claim it happened in the 1700s, at the time that the Illuminati wasn't created. So whatever you believe, this is what I was taught. So 2D thinking evolved, which eliminated the feminine, both the divine feminine, and it created a feminine that was an extreme feminine, very delicate, very vulnerable, couldn't own property, couldn't vote, taken advantage of. If you for a long time you couldn't own property, you couldn't vote. It was pretty bad for women for a very long time. So 2D is flat. It's like you can draw any 2D figure on a piece of paper. It's flat, right? It's a square. It's not solid. It's as solid as the ink is thick on the paper. So only 4 directions: north, south, east, west. Well, if there's 4 elements, earth, fire, earth, air, and water, then there's only north, east, south, and west. And that led to 4 elements versus 5. And it led to this flat 4-dimensional thinking. And each of these elements, each of the 5 elements, you have 7 main chakras. You have other chakras, but you have 7 main chakras. And each one of those chakras is represented by an element and an initiation. So elements 1 through 4 are your base element up to your heart. So by getting rid of the 5th element, it took away your throat chakra. And there's an initiation, a spiritual initiation, which with each of the 7 chakras. So when you take away the 5th element, you never get to 6 and 7. You don't even get to 5. And I know that when I first woke up a little over 35 years ago, I also thought there were 4 elements. And I was dying and started meditating because I didn't know what else to do. And it was suggested that I meditate, and it healed me. And people saw me healing, wanted to know, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm meditating, and I learned how to do this, and I learned how to do that. And they said, will you do that for me? And before you know it, I was healing people. And I wrote a book, teaching classes, and I wrote a book because you can only heal one person at a time. And so by teaching classes, you can heal more people at once and help them so that they can heal themselves. And the book had 4 elements. That I wrote that book, and I published it in 1999. And then I went back to school and I became a licensed acupuncturist. And I went, oh, there's 5 elements, because in the East, they never lost the 5th element. Ayurvedic medicine, Vedic literature, the Buddhist, traditional Chinese medicine, they all had 5 elements. And then around 2015, science actually said, oh, there really is a 5th element, and it's ether. In the United States, a lot of times they'll call it ether, but I prefer to use the term aether so you don't confuse it with the gas ether. So in 2019, I republished my book, Meditation Demystified, and it's published under the name of Dancing Bear. and you can get it on Amazon, but it's got all 5 elements. And then in 2020, I wrote an ebook, Home for Success. And so when you take my Home for Success program, you get a free copy of that ebook. And that's how each of the meditation styles will help you. So we have to move into this 5-element thinking, which is 3-dimensional. And so then the 5 through 7 initiations are now back. And that my students from the past said, you only taught us the first 4 initiations. We want the rest. This 2D initiation and thinking is very, very logical. And so the emotions are gone. So logical is the masculine, the emotions and feelings are the feminine. So what is the feminine? And this is yin versus yang, not men versus women. So masculine is hard, feminine is soft. Remember, everything is opposites in relationship to each other. The masculine is straight, and I'm not talking about your sexual preferences. I'm talking about a straight line. And the feminine is like a curved line. So the masculine would be like a straight, what do you call them? A square, and a feminine would be like a circle. So the masculine is logical, the feminine is feeling and emotional. The masculine is 2D square. That's the masculine we've been in. That's not the divine masculine. And the feminine is hexagonal. The divine, it should say divine feminine. So the divine feminine is hexagonal and 3-dimensional. And what we have to do is get the masculine from the square to divine masculine, which is 3D and cubed, not squared. So when the opposite combine, they form a sphere. They are complete. That's like I told you earlier, when the dodecahedron and the icosahedron invert evert, they go so fast, they're moving very, very fast, that it creates what looks like a sphere. So inversion, eversion can occur uninterrupted. When you have uninterrupted inversion, eversion, that's when transformation happens. If you are stuck in 2D, you will not transform. Okay? There is no balance in 2D. There is no balance because it's only got 4 directions. It doesn't have up and down. Okay, a cube has 6 sides, 4 directions up and down. And once you have the 4 directions, the up and the down, you have balance. So let's do a quick invocation. Just if you want to, you can close your eyes or just kind of relax and take a deep breath. So may the sacred architecture of the universe awaken within us. May we remember the divine design encoded in our very bones. And may the balance of sacred feminine and sacred masculine rise once more through our awakened hearts and forms. Now, I do like to always cite my source. Most of my images come from Canva. This image, I couldn't find I wanted something like this that was the masculine. I couldn't find it in Canva, so I had to go out on the internet. And I couldn't find one where his head was up. He doesn't need to be bowing. But the source is dreamtime.com/illustration/divine masculine.html ? PG = 2. So take a screenshot if you need to, if you want to find this image. But that's the only divine masculine that I could find. Okay, so did you find what you heard today curious? Do you want more? You can start with my free class program, All for Success. So this is based on what I taught for decades, a couple decades, until 2020. And I charged for it. And then in 2020, Source said, give it away for free. So it's now free. And it's a 3-part program. It's 37 days. The first 30 days is just a short video. It's pre-recorded, so take it when you feel like it. And each video is like 2 to 5 minutes. Okay. And then you have homework and you don't even start to meditate right away. And you might say, well, I've been meditating for years. I don't need that. I beg to differ. I've had very senior meditators go through my program and they all say, I had no idea. I learned so much. Most people, there are 5 styles of meditation. Most people do one of these 4. Okay. And they'll say, well, I like this kind of meditation. That's all I do. Or I like this kind and that's all I do. And you have your favorite kind. Well, here's the good news and the bad news. Good on you that you have a meditation that you like to do. However, you need to master all 4 styles of meditation for a variety of reasons. I go into it known for success. But to master the 5th element and succeed at transformation, this is ascension here. It uses each of these 4 styles. So you need to be able to combine these 4 styles to do the 5th. So that's why I suggest do the 30 days. It doesn't take you long. It's in my app. You'll get an email reminding you of each day to log in and do that one. And if you forget, you can just go back the next day and catch up. And they're just really short instructions. Then I have a webinar that I used to give for free to sell my master program. So I used to spread them out a week apart. So there would be the webinar, because at the end of 30 days, I give you a lot of homework. I give you a lot of material to read, like the Epic of Gilgamesh and the Hermetic Principles and the Numo Elish, and a lot of this ancient knowledge that's now available. I have it in PDF form and it's right there for you. So I gave it a week before the webinar and I've changed it. Now you get the webinars available the next day, okay? And I think it's 30 to 45 minutes. It's a little bit longer. Then there is my 6-day masterclass that I used to charge for. I don't charge for it anymore. So day 1 is fire. So we're all about fire. We take a deep dive into fire. And what are the meditation styles that fire represents? Then we go through earth, same thing. We go through air, we go through water. Day 5, we go through aether. You go, what's day 6? Day 6 is how do we dive a little deeper? It's kind of like an overview to my advanced training. So your 5 chakras are related to these 5 elements. So are the 7 rays. By the way, so is astrology. Everything is based on this combination of information. So that's free, 37 days, a little of your time, up to an hour and a half. And by the end of that time, say, oh, I like to walk or run, or I do my exercise or whatever, and that's my meditation. What happens when you have the flu or something? You're really sick and you're in bed. What do? Oh, I can do a water meditation. A water meditation is about healing. I can do that while I'm laying down. Okay, so when you know all of the different styles of meditation, now when you can't do the one you like, you can do one of the other ones. You don't have to stop meditating. So to dive a little deeper into what I've been saying on this podcast, I've put together a class. It's called Awakening the 5D Body, the Path Forward, because we're talking about let's move to 5D. If you're in 2D, you can't move to 5D, okay? A lot of people like to use drugs like ayahuasca. I don't do drugs. My body doesn't metabolize them. If you want to do drugs, fine. I think you should do the work. But a lot of people who are in 2D, when they start doing that and they end up in 5D, it's such a gap that your brain cannot handle it and you get sick. You vomit, you get really sick. If you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. It's because you went from 2D to 5D. First, get yourself to 3D. In 3D, you're a solid. You're not flat. You're a solid. Then when you go to 4D, you start to see time. Now, shamans have done this for decades, for thousands of years. We move through time. We can see the past, we can see the future, and we can see the now. We walk through multiple dimensions at the same time. That's kind of weird if you've never done that. There's this thing called remote viewing. That's looking in this time somewhere else, but you can do it in the past and you can do it in the future. And when you get to that state, you're in fourth dimension. When you get into fifth dimension, you can literally move through time. Okay. So being able to see everything as one, being one with the all. Are you ready for that? That's called ascension. That's what we're moving toward. So this is just a quick little class I put together. It's going to be July 30th at 6 p.m. on Zoom. So when you register, you'll be with me in Zoom. I will record it. And there will be replay if you can't make 6 p.m. And it's only $22. Okay. So if you can't make it at all, you'll miss out on the Q&A at the end, but you can just watch the class. And that's where I'm going to talk about how you do this, how you move into 4D and then into 5D. Just a little simple little class. And then once you take this class, then you may appreciate more why you need to finish the Home for Success program. I know a lot of people sign up for it, and I talk to them and I say, I started it, but I didn't have time. To me, anytime people says they don't have time, it means they're not willing to do the work. When you meditate, especially when you try different types of meditation, you start waking up to who you are. And I start with learning to journal. When you start journaling your feelings and you start facing who you are, that's when transformation begins. That's when your life really starts to change. So this is a very transformative program. Trust me, I've been transforming people for decades with this program. So if you don't want to do it, that means you're not ready. Okay, but it's up to you. And this is going to take you from here to here. So if you haven't done this, this is 30 days. So at least go through the 30-day part. You can take the master class afterwards. And starting, I think, in August, I'm going to teach just the master class part live. So you can always take it live then. I'm not sure when I'm going to do it. I will be on a conference with Portal to Ascension. It's going to be on the I didn't save the name of it. I'm always forgetting the name of it. I'll put a link down below, but on July 19th and 20th, there's a free conference by Portal to Ascension. Sorry, I'm dyslexic. I mix up my words. Portal to Ascension. I'm on July 20th, I think around 4:25. And it's pre-recorded. It's live, but it's pre-recorded. So if you can't attend all day for 2 days live on Saturday and Sunday, you can watch the replay. And Portal to Ascension, you create a login for free, and they have lots of free stuff. And then they do have some stuff you pay for, but they have lots of conferences, they have podcasts, they have all kinds of stuff. Okay, so the link is dancingbearenlightenmentacademy.com, and it's /5dbody.html, and the D and the B are uppercase. So 5dbody.html. Now you go, I don't have a pen right now, I'm driving, whatever. Well, I'm dancingbearenlightenmentacademy.com. There's a tab at the top of the page that says classes. So you click on the classes and then you go down. It's got Home for Success. It's got all my classes listed, and it'll have the 5dbody.html there for you. Okay. So it really helps the channel when you like, subscribe, and share. So I appreciate it when anyone does that. If you want to access my app, you can use this QR code here. And I give everybody who comments a heart. Of course, I've never had any rude comments or nastiness on this channel. So if you try that, I will block you. You won't get a heart. But otherwise, you'll get a heart and a thank you, and I will respond. So what do you think? Put your comments. Did you like this? Did you not like this? Do you look forward to my class? So let me know. And I'll have all the other links down below. So let me do, there we are. Okay, so I want to thank you for joining us today. And remember to be the light you want to see in the world.